just do what I, hey, I'ma just do what I, okay, I'ma just do what I.
So my next topic is, do you think that some black men have a hard time expressing themselves or opening up?
Oh yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Because you've been taught not to. It's that simple. You've been taught not to, because by opening yourself up, you show your vulnerability, you show your weakness, and people are known to attack your vulnerabilities and weaknesses. So you will do whatever you can not to show that. All right? It's only been the last year or two where people have really talked about mental health and getting help and therapy. Before that, you know, you just crazy. You be all right. You just sit over there and talk. You know, that's how, you know, but you're talking about a black person talking about I'm going to see a therapist was like, what the hell's wrong with you?
I have questions about that.
You know what I'm saying? But now people are really starting to understand, and I've literally mean in the last year or two that mental health is a serious issue. And now people are starting to say it's okay if you want to get help from somebody. It's okay if you want to go see a therapist. But other than that, yeah, man, it's, you know, it's tough. It's tough.
So, Coach, do you have a hard time opening up?
Depends on who I'm talking to. I was, you know, my father taught me to be strong, right? And be a man, whatever. But sometimes, you know, your ego gets in the way and you try to figure it out on your own. All right? And by the time you ask for help, sometimes it's too late. But again, it all depends on, number one, who I'm talking to. How well do I know this person? You just can't open up to anybody. All right? The person you open up to, and whether it's your wife or your girlfriend or your friends, you gotta trust that they're not gonna judge you. All right? Because there's some people, like I said, your family members, you open up to them and be like, they'll judge you by what you are or what you're doing. And so, you know, you know, it's very difficult for anybody to open up to somebody because you show your vulnerability. It's more accepted for women to do it because they say they're being emotional. All right? But that's not the case. You know, it really is when you open up to somebody, you are in a way asking for help, whether it's advice or whatever it is. And if you don't really want that, you're not going to open up. And also, who do you open up to? Because you may talk to one person because you know that person will tell you what you want to hear. Compared to you open up to this person, you know they're going to tell you the brutal truth, and are you ready to handle that? All right, so you know, there's a lot of factors when you talk about somebody opening up to somebody.
So let's do comments.
That's spot on. Pretty much. I mean, the only other thing that I would add is just, you know, the idea of hyper masculinity, pretty much, and the idea that we formed what a black man should be, you know, and what, you know, also it could attribute to how we see emotions and that vulnerability as being weakness and also being really feminine. So hypermasculinity again. So I think mental health is extremely important. And also you have to know when to ask for help and who to ask it from, like what you were saying. It's okay to get help. Everybody needs help. I think that we also have to be taught proper tools on when to recognize different things. You know, and it's okay to just talk to someone who doesn't really look like you or may look like you. That's okay too. For me, I go to therapy all the time, you know, and for my mom, she was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, and I'm like, I'm not happy, I'm depressed, you know, she thinks I'm completely crazy.
Yeah,
and
there's no therapy in Caribbean.
No, none of that.
God is your therapist.
Yes.
Right. So I think that's extremely important to go to therapy, and if you're not ready for that, personal development is a huge thing. It's starting to see things in our life not so much as obstacles but as challenges, how we can overcome them, how can we be the best version of ourselves, and that comes down to education. So even if you feel yourself at a low vibration, you're not really happy, pick up self-help tips, books, you know, read. Yes, there's so many different resources out there that we have access to. Ask someone if you know that, let's say if I have a friend if I'm into spirituality and I know my friend could help me, maybe I ask her, hey, what tools do you think I should do? What exercises? You know, our mental health is not just going to therapy. It's our overall being and how we see ourselves. It's about our confidence. It's so many different things.
Why do you think it's an overlooked issue? The mental health, the lack of expression, just emotional stuff. Why do you think that's an overlooked issue in the Black community?
Because I think they think it's weakness.
Mm.
That's exactly what it is. We don't want to be vulnerable for what? It's a distraction. To talk about our emotions, to talk about what's going on. But in reality, if we don't do that, we're only hurting ourselves. It's baggage. It's preventing us to progress in life. Once we're aware of the things that are around us, these challenges and how to overcome them, then we can only be the best version of ourselves. Then we can only be proper role models, advocates, and all these things. At the end of the day, everything starts with you. If you're not okay, if I'm not okay, and I don't have myself put together on how to relieve stress or deal with anxiety or any of these things, how the hell am I going to help anybody else?
Right.
It's not possible.
Did your parents ever punish you for expressing yourself as a child?
Give me an example.
Or like showing emotion as a child?
No, not necessarily. I mean, if we're talking about emotion, let's say, and acting out, I was punished for that. But it wasn't a conversation of why you acting out.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like, okay, you need to get it together in the classroom. Here's the spanking here. Here's this type of punishment. There's never been any type of conversation. Only now, my siblings and I are starting to do this work, this shadowing of what we didn't get and what affected us. Once we start to do that shadow work of our younger self and start to heal that, then we can move forward.
Wow, that sounds great. You were shadow working with your siblings?
Yeah.
Like you guys just decided to come together and focus on the things that happened in your past?
We talked about a lot of times my mother is a single mother. She has 4 kids by 2 different people, and how she was looked down upon. When everyone came to the country, a lot of them, her siblings, they stayed with her, right? And so they expected the worst out of us. My brother, he's on the streets, selling drugs at one point, got involved with the wrong people. I wasn't listening. They expected the worst of us, and they told our cousins not to talk to us, to stay away from that. To stay away from them. Oh, this person, your cousin is not going to do anything, in this lifetime. Don't hang out with them, et cetera, et cetera. And we kind of knew that, but then it was validated once our cousins started talking to us. And it's actually really funny because my mom's children are now becoming the most successful out of everybody. So those conversations too, jealousy within the family. I've told a lot of my, my cousins about my success and me finally accepted in the doctoral program. They're like, you're going back to school again for what? What are they thinking? Because she can't get a job. She already has a master's degree. Why is she going back? And they were like, okay.
I hate that.
There was nothing, congratulations. I'm the first person in my family to have a master's degree at that, to now be in a doctoral program. The first person to do that. Mind you, I come from a single mother. There's no accolades from my outer family, my extended family. I'm not getting any of that stuff. But at the end of the day, I can't keep looking outwards for all these different things, these accolades from other people. For what? That's why you have to do this work. You have to make sure that you are ready to thrive and you are ready to take anything life comes at you. The only reason why I'm able to do all these things is because I'm in the process of fixing myself. I'm in the process of becoming everything I need to be confident, to be strong-headed, because I'm going into a predominantly white institution, number one, where there's only one black professor, and I'm probably one of few black people who are going to be in the doctoral program. If I didn't do all this self-work and learning how to, deal with my emotions, learn how to handle confrontations, there was no way I was going to get to it. There's a reason why it took me 3 years to get here. It's not just because I didn't have the educational skills. I did, but I did not have those personal skills, and now I have them.
Wow. That's when somebody attacks your spirit, I like to call it. You have to know what your self-worth is.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing we always talked about, me and the fellows when growing up, is you never let somebody break your spirit. Because once they break your spirit, they've broken you. You can break a bone or whatever, but your spirit is very, very important. And you have to be able to keep that. And, when you have, I told you, like I said before, that sometimes it's family members will be the ones to tear you down before a stranger will.
Yep.
And it's just pure jealousy. It's all it comes down to. Because they're really more upset with themselves about what they're not doing compared to what you're doing. All right? So they figure misery loves company, right? So I'll find a way for you to falter. But once you find your self-worth, and Once you're intact with your spirituality, can't nobody break that. You could just sit there and flap your gums all you damn want. It ain't gonna make a difference to me because I'm still going to do me. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is when I talk about you have to know the people who are around you and how they are. And if they keep showing what they're doing, you can't get mad anymore about it. You can't be surprised about it anymore because they've always showed it to you. It's whether or not you saw the signs every time they did it. Then some family members will be more happy for their friend than they will be for you. Because they see you as, oh, you think you better than us? Well, no, you think I'm better than y'all. All right? Just because I'm doing me, I never said that. That's coming from you. So you have the issue with that, not me. And sometimes it does. It's hard when you're coming out of your teenage years to talk about, I feel confident enough and self-worth enough to strive and go on. You're still learning yourself. You understand? You're still, sometimes you haven't left home yet until you go to college. All right? So, and now you're on your own all of a sudden, and the world is hitting you from all types of angles. And you're trying to figure and navigate this out, and sometimes it becomes overwhelming. And you can't talk to a family member. You're like, what do you do? And, you know, that's why some people do. They turn to drugs. They turn to alcohol. They turn to things that they feel will take away the pain, and it never really does, because no matter what, until you confront the issue that's there, it's always going to be there. And what happens usually is if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to have children, and you're going to pass that on to them. And now you have another generation coming up with issues that you didn't want to deal with when you were supposed to deal with before you brought other people into the world.
Good stuff. So do you think that your children are open with you when it comes to their emotions?
We just had that conversation about a month ago because something had happened with one of my friends and his daughter. And he said that he could not say how he felt until an hour into the conversation. So I asked my kids about that. And they said, well, maybe, I understand his point. And sometimes if you know what the person's going to say, you don't want to hear it, you're not going to call. And my answer to both of them was this. If I'm asking you to be honest with me, why can't I be honest with you? People talk about they want honesty. No, they don't.
That's true.
They don't. They want you to say or know what to say, how they're feeling. They don't want you to be honest. Because honesty hurts, depending on what the topic is. So we had that conversation. I said, I don't care what it is, because number one, you don't know how I'm going to respond. You think you know, but you don't know. So you want to keep those lines of communications open with your children. I think that's always been very important. And no matter what, if you tell a child, and this starts again, this is how that father-child dynamic goes awry when the father says, I'm going to come pick you up, and he never shows up. Okay? I never told my kids we were going to do something until we were getting ready to go do it. I never told them that, because you don't know what can happen. Something may come up. Something might have to, whether it's emergency or whatever the case may be. You're not feeling it, whatever it is that day. You cannot lie to children. Children don't forget.
That is very true.
They do not. If you told them that you were going to take them somewhere on September 28th, and you could tell them this, they will remember. They won't remember a day. They won't remember to clean their room. They won't remember where their socks are. They won't remember nothing else. They will remember September 28th. You're supposed to come pick them up.
I hate empty promises because of that.
Because of that. So no, I've always, like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Good, bad, or indifferent. If I say you're going to get punished for this, you're going to get punished for this. If I say you're going to, I'm going to go take you here because you earned this, you did well in school, and I said you did well in school, I'm going to go get you something, I'm going to go get you something. You can't lie to children, because number one, it's hurting them. Their trust in you will now take a step back, and you're asking them to trust you. So if you're asking them to trust you, you have to come through. And if I'm asking you to trust, then you have to trust me. That no matter what I tell you, I'm telling you this because I love you. Some people are very good being yes people. They'll do whatever you want to do, and they'll tell you yes for everything. That's not the person that you need. You need the person who's willing to stand up to you and say, yo man, you know what you're doing is wrong. and you can get mad at me, whatever. You'll get over it, you know, because once you start to think about what that person told you, most times, if it's a person that you know and you know most of your life and you trust them, you know they were right.